Skal jeg bare begynne? Ja. Ja. Hello, everybody. Ready for a little workshop? Procreate Dreams workshop. So this is, if you want to follow along, you can download the dude I'll be working with, the layers, the PSD file, and just use this QR code, and you can download him. And it's basically just a few layers. So I give you a minute to download this. If you have Procreate Dreams, if you don't, you can still download it and maybe try to follow along in another software. The file? Isn't it only just one file popping up? Okay. It's something Walker, could it be? Ah. Oh yeah, Hazmat Walk 01. Okay, cool. It's pointing to the wrong thing. Yeah. Well, if you want to follow along, you can also, it's just a few elements. So you can also draw it in 2 minutes in a way. So let me show you. So is there any new people here that wasn't at my talk this morning? Yeah, just a couple. But yeah, you can check out my stuff on YouTube and internet. I don't want to bore the rest of the people with the same stuff over again. Okay, but the important items that you're going to need is an upper body, and it can be super crude, right? It can be, so you just have a body and then a head and then a nose, you know, can be this simple, right? So it doesn't have to be super cool. And then an arm and another arm. These are the elements that we need. The legs we're going to animate from scratch anyway. So these legs are just temporary legs showing what they look like. And then on top here, I just have a guide so I know he's going to walk. So he's going to go a little up and down. So this is just a guide for me to see that he's stepping on the right level and that his head goes over and under this line. So this is just a few lines you can just add in. You can also do all this straight in Dreams. But I will jump into Dreams and then we'll take it one step at a time. So if you have an iPad and Dreams, you can start with pressing the plus, top right corner, new project. And then we're going to have it on 12 FPS. And we can set it to just 1 second for now. So 12 frames per second, 1 second. And we can switch, we can have the square one, or it doesn't really matter. But I kind of like the square one with this sort of walking dude. And then just press empty. So that's, then you get pulled into the new project. No notifications, please. And then maybe if I just, do I turn off notifications now? I hope so. And then I just pull Procreate over on one side and then just drag drop this in, or else we just paint it straight in Dreams. So here's my file. You have 3 modes, or 3 modes at the timeline here. You have Compose at the bottom center, you have Perform, and you have Keyframe. So Compose is where you just move stuff around without adding any keyframes or so. So I just want to scale him down so he fits within our canvas. And then if you go into edit drawing, or if you don't have anything, here is where you could draw these things, right? The upper body, the arm, the arms, like my arms, for example, they're just a copy of each other, right? So they're very similar, just a bit differently shaded. So you basically just have to draw one arm and then the upper body. The legs aren't that important. So the legs, we can, I'm gonna remove them anyways, but it's just good to have as a placeholder. So it's important that these three, the two arms and the upper body, is in different layers. And we're going to put them on different tracks. We're going to convert layers to tracks. So be super crude, you know, it's even funnier when it's horrible and ugly, right? It's going to look even more fun. So to convert to tracks, you just long hold on this drawing and then convert drawings to tracks, almost in the center of that menu. So now it's different tracks here. So I'm just going to start with like the little guide, the blue guide here. I'm just going to set a highlight on blue because I love this color highlights that you have on. And when you also zoom out, you see the whole thing turns blue. So if you have really many, or your stack starts to become big, you can still see, still easy to find your stuff. And I'm going to just adjust the opacity down a little on that. And we want to group our layers here. So gonna pick this one, the one that's red now, the multi-select, and just select all of the layers that is the guide, not the guide, you know, everything except the guide. And then long hold, and then group. So now we have a dude in the group, and you have to go out of multi-select again, or else it behaves like you don't want it to. I'm gonna color code this or highlight this as red. Just easy to see the differences. So we're gonna start with putting 4 positions keyframe, which is our walk. So, and I'm gonna just push the opacity on the legs a bit down, like this, just so it's just a guide for when I start to draw them. But this whole group here, we can call it upper body. So we're going to give it a few keyframes. So this is the sort of neutral pose, also where you see the legs. This is the contact. We often call this in animation. So I'm giving it a keyframe here. Go into keyframe mode at the bottom. Tap, move and scale. And then I skip frame number 2 because this will be our down point. So we're going to move this one, but frame 3, where you have the passing, where the legs pass each other, we want the same height and everything. So I'm just going to tap again down here on that keyframe track. And so these are exactly similar. And then number 5 is sort of our, it's only 1, 2, 3, 4. That's our loop. So number 5 is like our first frame again. But we still need it because to make a perfect loop, you need that extra frame. That's the beginning of the next cycle. So 3 keyframes on frame number, in this case, 1, it says 0. 1, 3, and 5. So they're same. And then I jump to number 2. So this will be our down. So I push him a little down. So you see the guide is really helpful now. So you see that he, not so much forward, just down really. I try to push. And then we have the passing, the number 3, and then number 4 is up. That's the up frame. So down to back, and then up, and then back again. So this is our beginning, the rough keyframing. But it's enough to get us going with the legs now. So I'm gonna make a new track. Press the plus here, new track. And I'm gonna move, you just long hold on this one, the upper body, move it up, because I want that track to be underneath here. The new track. So in this track, we will create a flipbook. So the little plus there, and then flipbook. This is where you do the frame by frame stuff. And in Procreate Dreams 2, the flipbook has become much stronger. We have selection tool, among other things. So I'm just tapping flipbook now. So when I go through the frames, you see the animation already. But it's only on the first frame here, and you can just, I'm gonna paint over the legs. Doesn't really matter what brush you have. Just pick one that is sort of like an ink brush. So I'm just gonna paint over, and I'm gonna be a little rough. Paint over that first set of legs, the contact point, as we call it. This is where the front leg makes first contact with the ground. Sort of when the heel touches the ground. And you can also, as long as you close a loop here, you can just drag down and fill. So that's pretty nice. You can drag down here. Just make sure you've closed the top of the leg. So once we have this one frame, we can now go back to our timeline, and I can open up where I have these legs and delete them. I don't need the placeholder leg anymore. And then jump back into the flipbook. So I'll do the sort of the extremes first. So this is the contact, and then I'll jump to the passing point. Also, I want to have, well, I can do the passing first. I just want to have my onion skins colored differently. So blue forwards and red backwards. I don't need that many skins. So now I'm drawing the foot on the same place as the front foot. So this is in the wrong position, but it's a nice, the onion skin gives me a nice thing to draw after. So I know the foot is the same, the correct size. And I want my foot to be here when it's passing. So it means that the whole weight is at the center of the foot. And you can probably tell now that it's not exactly in the middle of the 2 feet. So I need to adjust this one a little. So I rather use like distort on this just to make sure that you see how the feet are now exactly on each side. So it's the same space between the legs, between the feet, to have this in-between position. So I jump back to this place and draw the in-between. So that's the leg on the ground, and then the passing foot. So the knee is pretty much in the same height. And I kind of often just draw just a straight line, just a simple stick figure line as a beginning. Kind of thinking, where's the skeleton inside the character? And use the eraser to like sculpt the shapes. So this is the passing point, same height with the body as the contact. And now we can start doing the in-betweens here. So again, I'll use one drawing of the foot as a guide. So this is the in-between between these two. And this is the down position. This is where the weight, here you have contact, and then comes the weight down. So the knee actually moves forward, or it doesn't, you know, you get some weight on the leg, so the knee moves a bit forward. So the leg position is, or the thigh is almost the same as the first one. And then the distance you see from here to here, that's the travel distance between, you know, on the ground. So you need that same distance from this foot back there. So it's still on the ground, but just higher up. So the heel is lifted. It's getting ready to go away from the ground. And then the rest of the leg. Something like that. And then to get the fourth position, so the last one of the main positions, we need a copy of the first position at frame 5. So I go to the first one, I long hold, so I get this little menu. Press on top there, you have cut, copy, paste, duplicate. So I press copy. And then long hold on 5 and paste. So I pasted the first frame also as frame number 5. So this will be the start of the second cycle of the loop, right? But now we have that nice in-between onion skin to show us the positions. So again, painting the foot. And you see, I'm not very, doesn't need to be perfectly drawn by any means. So now this is the top. This is where the body goes a bit up, you know? So this is where that stretch happens. Maximum stretch in the leg. And now you see you have the other foot is going to go here. It comes from there to there. So the knee will, it's nice to just put in the knee. I'm putting the knee a little higher, and then sort of like a pendulum. And it's not right and wrong. Like the foot could point more upwards if you want. Like a walk can be so different. So many variations of a walk. So it's not like this is the only way. This is just one. This is sort of a very basic walk. Nothing special. Something like that. So if I delete this last frame here now, which was the copy of the first, you can kind of, it's the beginning of something. It's a little fast, right? We want to do one more set of in-betweens. And I also say, jump back to the timeline. And I'm also going to hide the arms for now. So just have the upper body. And I also going to rotate him a bit backwards because he's a little too front leaning, I think. But I need to stretch these frames. These are the same as our drawings. I want to have them spread over one extra frame. So I move what's on frame 5 goes to frame 9, and then the rest follow with one space in between now. So the pacing is half the pace, right? And we want to do the same with the flipbook. You just move these frames, and I'm also gonna, while we're at it, gonna tap this little, see this little 3 dots menu on the top right corner, edit anchor. It's actually very well placed. So this will be where the hips are in a way, or where the connection to the legs. I just want to rotate him a little back and not scale. So just do that. We'll come back to the rotation. So it's probably a little off now. But we go back to the flipbook now with the legs, edit flipbook. And we're going to do the same here. We're going to move these. So this will be, is it 8? And then 6, no, 2, 1, 3, 5, and 7. So we have one space in between. So this is more the correct pacing of it now. But gonna jump in to do the in-betweens. Gonna be pretty fast. I think animation in 12 FPS looks really good. Like often when I do projects, I most often have 24 FPS on the project, but then 12 on the characters. Also seems to be something that's almost become like an industry standard. Also in 3D animation, like a Spider-Verse. So like this, and then here, a new in between. If you guys have any questions while I do this, I can answer them while I do this. Just feel free to shout out. So that's going to look perfect, but you didn't know that this morning, that they will watch a guy do in-betweens. That's pretty damn boring, or? It's hard labor. Okay. But we'll be fast. Here, approximately, with the other leg. Something like that. And the last one again. So I copy the first frame, paste it into slot number 9 to get our last in between. And the cool thing with like the whole point of this combination of frame by frame and keyframes is to kind of use to be able to combine, of course, because you couldn't paint all this detail in a frame by frame painting. That would take a lot of time. It's going to be hard to. So that's really cool. I think that you can combine these elements. The ways to animate. Let's have a little upward foot before it goes down. All right, I'm going to delete frame number 9 again, which is the copy of the first. Yeah, except for the upper body being a bit stiff. It's, I think the legs work now. Okay, legs are good. So we go back to the upper body. So we're going to have, this is just half the cycle, right? So I'm going to also find, this is my last frame, frame number 8 on the legs. So I will pull in the group here on the flipbook length to match that. And I will also pull, we're going to have twice. So I'm pulling the length of the whole project out here. Also the same with the other layers. So opening up, we need these to last a bit longer. So now, let's see here. We're gonna have the movement on the guy. So he comes down. So here, just gonna expand. Rotation a little more forward. And then he goes back and then down, up. And I think this one should, let's have ease in, ease out. So I said a long hold and I said all easing, ease in, ease out. Not sure I need that in between there. So let's see how this looks. And you can extend like 3 finger. With 3 fingers, you can extend this way or up and down. And if you move it out of the frame like this, it will just play what you have here. It's actually going to put this a little forward like that. Maybe we don't even need this one. So just, yeah, that's better. Okay, so we have the main keyframes on the upper body. I will collapse, move and scale, so it looks like this. And we're gonna copy paste this one more time. So I'm gonna use my multi-select. You can select the keys like this. Then long hold, copy. Or, sorry, not the first one. Everything except the first one. Like this. Long hold, copy, and then go to frame 11 and paste. So it should be the whole loop twice, and then you can duplicate this one, the legs, duplicate after. It's almost at the bottom there, like fourth from the bottom. So we have a copy of the legs as well. And you see the last keyframe here is the one that's the start of the next cycle again. So that's supposed to be outside here. So that's correct. So if I move this outside the frame, it should look correct. Cool. So, but it's still fairly stiff, right? It's still just one drawing, the upper body. We want some jiggle. So I'm going to open that group. I'm going to go into that drawing. That's the upper body. Tap. And set a warp key. And as soon as you choose warp here, you're going to get this grid and a choice to densen the grid. You know, like the maximum is 8 by 8. That's not what we want, but in my case, like 5 fits better. Like I'm looking at that sort of this snout on the gas mask. It's nice to have a control point there. So I think this is a good amount for me, like 4 horizontal and then 5 vertical. And here too, we have, so project-wise, I'm going to pull back. So the last frame is this key here, which is the extra frame that start of the next cycle. So we don't need, we can actually pull in the whole group here. So it matches that. And this is back to our warp. This is also where we want the last key here. And it needs to match the first one. So you just tap again. So you have a key at the beginning and then at the end there. And we can also have one in the middle, because that's the middle of the loop. So when it goes down here, it's a little, maybe around frame 5. Let's see, there I start to pull. We can see how that looks. Wink. Yeah. Little is fleshy. Nice little weight to it. Can also exaggerate a bit. And then his second step here. You can just copy paste the keyframe, but it's also nice that it looks a little different. So just wing it. So you see that one frame plays one more time. So I'm going to push this out on the right side. So it just plays the, yeah, feels more like he has some weight to him, right? So I think we say that's good enough. So now we start with the arm. So I'm going to do the front arm first. And there's a reason why I drew it. Probably should have said this in the beginning, but there's a reason why I drew it in this 45 degrees. And this has to do with the warp grid. I can show you why when we get to that part. So first is to tap that little menu again and edit anchor point. So this is important that this is where the shoulder is, where the arm is attached. So first key is the arm forward. And we can rotate it forward, of course, but also we can move it forward a bit. And then this is the same as the last key. So that's the end of our loop as well. So in the middle here, this is where we want the arm to be back. and then also move the bit back. So this little movement helps to sort of give that illusion of the shoulder going back and forth, right? It almost looks happy, swinging the arm. Okay. Swing looks good, but again with the warp. So we're going to warp this one as well. But imagine, I'm just going to add a drawing now. Just to give you, so let's say you draw an arm that looks like this. This could be enough, right? But it's straight down like this. And you want to warp that. So the warp grid becomes like this. It's really hard to, it's so close to everything is so, you know, narrow. So it's hard to make the right shapes you want. So the reason why I, with this one, painted it or at least rotated it 45 degrees is that when I now set my warp grid, it's much better. I can much easily grab the handles and make the shape that I want with that arm. So in the beginning here, like the first frame and last frame is the same. So here, in the beginning, you want some of that, the elbow to lead the movement and the fingers to kind of come up a bit. And then back here, we want the opposite. Here, the elbow comes forward and the fingers linger. So you get that secondary motion. To get that nice little pimp walk arm. And then you also break a bit of that stiff cutout feel to it, you know. And you could also have this as a parent, the upper arm as a parent to the lower arm, and then you could, you know, so you could go crazy with hierarchy in a way. So we got the front arm, and we're going to do the back arm, but to do that, we're going to close the group, like the upper body, because the legs are here, and we need that arm on the opposite side of these legs. So I'm going to long hold and duplicate the upper body, track options, and then duplicate. So I get a copy like this. Just going to move that one copy underneath. Delete empty track. So in the top one, we keep this arm hidden. The sort of the arm behind his body, and then we do the opposite here. We hide the front arm and the upper body, but we show the back arm or the arm behind. So you're going to do exactly the opposite now. So again, edit anchor. Just going to move it out a little. Set the anchor point to the shoulder. So this is the opposite arm. So it's going to start out back here. Set the key, and then the last frame is the same. And then here, it's going to come up forward. So now he has that nice just going to move. But it's still that stiffness, so we need the warp. So as it comes forward, the hand goes back. So it's the opposite of the other one. Elbow goes forward. And then here, turns around. Oh, I forgot my last key, so I'm going to copy the first one, paste it as the last one. So arm comes here. Elbow leading the way. Okay, how does this look now? Yep, moving this out of the way. Yes, it's working. And the cool thing is that you can still, like, you can only warp directly on the drawing or distort, but you can still go into, let's say we want to put some cool red eyes on him, edit drawing. You could still add to the drawing if you want. Only thing is there's a limit. Like if I draw like this now, you see it's cut off by the warp grid. So you just have to stay within the warp grid, which is cool. And it doesn't then either mess up either with your warp, you know. So you can add fun details and it will be part of the drawing. So when I go back here, like as you draw on it, the warp is turned off. But then when you go back, you see the warp is still working like it should. So you can keep adding colors and stuff. So let me do one more thing here. So we have the whole group, like this is the group with everything in it. We can pull in here now. We don't need that last frame anymore. It's done its job. So we get the perfect cycle. We can do the same with the project. And then I'm gonna do another nice thing here. We can turn off the guide. We don't need the guide anymore. So it's just our dude. Timeline, set it to loop. So you can sort of see the whole thing. And I want to do one more thing. I want to make a shadow. So I'm gonna add a new track above. Then add a drawing. Use my one of my favorite brushes, the big square, like this. Then just clip mask this to the dude. So now we have a nice silhouette. And then we're gonna export this as a video. So I'm gonna go here, share, and then press video on top. Save video. And then we don't need that blue anymore, but we do need another track. So you can just move this into where you see that dotted line and it will spawn a new track. So behind here, underneath, gonna go and fetch our video. So click plus and then video. And then here's our dude. I've done this a few times, so that's why you see more of them. So now our video is exactly behind our dude. But the cool thing with video is you can also warp and distort. So if I add a distort key here now, I could do this. It's a shadow. And we can also blur it a little. Add a Gaussian blur filter. Just to get those edges a little softer. And one more little thing I like to do. I add a new track and a new drawing again, same brush, but just white. So it's big white square. So you don't even see it now. But I'm gonna move this up here. Then I'm gonna add a filter, blur this as well. Yeah, need to see what I'm doing. So you can sort of fade it away. It's one way to do it. So the shadow kind of fades away a little. You can also adjust the whole thing, the opacity of the whole thing down. So it's maybe just something like that. So that's it. That's the demo, workshop, whatever. Thank you. Any questions? Also from what I did this morning. Didn't really have time for questions, so. Yep. Yep. Well, I grew up illustrating and drawing. So this was what I did from when I was a kid. And then I discovered 3D around year 2000. And I just fell completely in love with it. Like it was, you can be God in a way and just create whatever you want out of nothing, right? It's just, it was mind-blowing. So I was, this was just, I thought it was so cool. And so I did that for a bunch of years, but then at the same time, like we had I worked at Storm Studios and we worked on the Free Jimmy. So I got into 3D Studio Max first and then Maya. And then there was this guy called Anders Finner. He was such a good concept artist. You know, he was the painter in the studio at the time. And I didn't do any digital, but I watched what he did. And I was like, God damn, that looks cool. And I need to learn this digital painting. So I started doing my first concept arts in 2005. And of course, that woke up the old drawing, the love for drawing and that stuff. And also what you can, like, if you want to do awesome 3D, you need a whole team in a way. Like, you can't be awesome at sculpting and rigging and texturing and lighting and rendering and all of that. It's hard, right? So it's yeah. So and also I discovered Procreate, and then was like, you know, just having the iPad, it's so nice. You know, I don't need anything else. So from 2012, that's when the iPad and Procreate became strong enough to produce production quality concept art. So from then on, I never looked back in a way. But I missed animation. So when like 3 years ago they reached out and like, we have an animation tool. Do you want to be part of this? I was like, yes, I want to get back into animation. Yeah. Any more? Yeah. Yeah. On this one? Let me show you. Yep. So if I wanted to change the color over time on this one, how would I do it? So let's say we're just going to do a simple color. So let's start with blue. So this could be put in a blend mode. I often go for overlay. Like, I like that the background isn't behaving like you want it to here. We can clip mask it. And you can keyframe, like if you go to hue, saturation, brightness, you can keyframe that as well. So you can have one color here and then a different color here. So that's one way to do it. But that might go through colors you don't want to go through. So if you want to have, you want to make sure it doesn't go through purple, for example, or then I would have 2 layers. So let's say one, go from blue to red. So you have one blue, one red. And then I'm going to undo the clip mask. And I'm going to group these two, the 2 colors. And I rather set the group here to the blend mode overlay and clip mask this one. So now you have, now it's all red because red is on top. But then you can just keyframe opacity. So maybe it starts on blue, but then when it's over here, it's 100% red. So then it also changes over time. And then you can maybe set this to linear. So that's 2 ways. Yep. Yeah, no problem. Yep. Yeah, music video. That I would love to actually. I've been thinking about it, but I never done it so far. But anytime. Yeah, yeah. Oh, I agree. You just need to find the right BPM to match the walk, or vice versa. Yeah. Yep. You. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, like with this one. Oh, sorry, that's loud. I'm not sure how. Whew. Yeah, so I first did like a character sheet, or like I took a bunch of sketches to sort of find the right character, and then also having a few of them in different positions. Not really a turnaround, because I knew I didn't need that in this way, but just to have the characters and a few, and the body, like how does the paw looks, and the tail and stuff. And then for me, it wasn't like, yeah, it's like you can, it's good to have, like, he's not really moving exactly like a natural, like he's pretty cartoony, like a fox wouldn't jump like this. So I didn't really need to watch uh like animal videos, but I would do that if it was more naturalistic in the movements. So here is just try to find interesting silhouettes on the way as well, so that the both feet, you can see both feet, because one might be hidden by the tail, right? That could be a choice as well, but it's just thinking to try to do clear silhouettes, and then making like squash and stretch, but making like the head and the ears like nice follow through. But just, yeah, just checking. I often do 6 FPS first and make that look okay, and then go to 12 FPS with the character. Yeah. So if you can undo, like, yeah. So this, sorry about the music. Yeah. So loud. Yes. Did that answer the question? Yeah. Was there another one? Yep. I'm not sure YouTube was existed when I was beginning. Yeah. No, I with Procreate, I discovered Procreate in 2011. That's also when it came out, and then I sent them an email, and then they answered me 2 hours later, and then uh, we became good friends. And I was sort of like the I went to events like this and demoed Procreate, and so I've been following it super closely the whole time, and also done a lot of beta testing, and come up with ideas for tools, and so it's yeah my I follow Procreate very very closely. Yeah, like they told me about it like 5 years before they were releasing it, and then the year and a half up till the release, I worked together with them. So it's been yeah, really close cooperation. Yeah, yeah. No, my highest recommendation then is to take my schoolism course, because I don't think anybody has gone to the depths of Procreate Dreams as I have, or pushed it as far, or experimented as much as I have with it. So I think, yeah, check out my course, because I show a lot of stuff that you wouldn't think, like the noise filter, for example, has so many possibilities to it. So stuff that you wouldn't think about is a possibility. So yeah, schoolism.com. Look at my course. You get all the secrets. Yep. There's one behind you there. A lot of film, a lot of live action. But yeah, sorry. Where do I draw my inspiration? Um, so movies, animation, TV series, um, like whenever something like Into the Spider-Verse pop up, or Arcane, or that's mind blowing. That's just so cool to see. Or Klaus, to see animation done in a new way. um and I But also live action stuff, like Blade Runner, Alien, all of these cool movies as well. So it's a lot of this film and TV, but also real life. Like I take a lot of photos, and like this time of year when everything becomes green, and just to walk along the road, I take a lot of picture of just the gutter. Like my photo albums are not like normal people's photo albums, but yeah, just yeah, many places. But these are the main ones, I guess. Do you remember your question? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. The question was why I contacted Procreate. Sorry. Yeah. Um, and the reason why was that Procreate was, like a newborn baby. It was very much a not professional tool yet. It had a lot of stuff missing, and you could only transform, scale, and rotate. And I wanted a perspective, like a distort. So this was my first question, like, is it possible? But then I also sent a link to my work, and they looked at it, and yeah, contacted me back. Yeah, there was an arm here, I think. Yep. Question: how much time I spend on a project like this? Yeah, so a lot of these ones that I did for Procreate, it's like a 3 week, often 3 weeks. But then it's idea, it's character design, it's painting everything, background, animating everything. So I think at least 2 to 4 weeks on these. But often 3 weeks. That sort of was something that was repeated. This one was quick. Again, so very loud. The environment took me 1.5 hours to paint on this one. It's very rough, but it's enough, you know. Like it's the movement. Yeah. Yes, sir. Yeah. Yeah. So to do bigger project, how this is in Procreate Dreams. I just did worked on a TV show with NRK where I did around 8 minutes of animation, and this is the biggest sort of single project I've done. And it, to me, it works fine. Like it's very stable and powerful, and whenever you have a crash or so, you just pick up where you left off because it saves every little action you do. So I feel it works really well. Yeah, you have one file, but for each time, like I just save a new file. So I keep, when I worked for a few hours, I'm happy with my progress. I save a new file, and then I also upload to Dropbox. So that's sort of my backup. Yeah. Yeah. There's one behind. Yeah. Yes. Um, Sometimes, like with this one, I also find sound fascinating. I didn't do the music myself, but I put the audio together. So um, the all the Foley sounds I did, and then the music I found and sort of edited it to fit. But I would in a way love to also do the score, but yeah, I'm not very good at that part. But I definitely think like I want to do short, like longer shorts and movies as well, and then I would definitely be part of creating the music, or at least finding the right people to do the music. Yeah. Sorry. Finish. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Ooh, that went black fast.